What's up, everybody? Dog 1985. There's levels to this. All right, guys. So I want to give a shout out to my dude, Loso Banks. Shout out to you, my dude. Loso Banks is someone that has been supporting my channel from the very beginning. It's been a while now that he's been supporting my channel. He ended up on Cowboys podcast a few days ago, and he made a video asking me a question. Cowboy allowed him to ask me a question. I'm going to go ahead and play that video for you guys right now, and then we'll come back and we'll go ahead and answer that question because it is a pretty good question. All right, so check this out. We'll be right back. All right.
Up, it's your boy Loso Banks. Hey, yo, Doc Dark, 1985, man. I got a question for you, right? I'm an Xbox fanboy. I had the Doofy, the 360, the Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox Series X. I own every Xbox. I beat Halo. I beat Gears. I beat Forza Motorsport, Forza Horizon. I beat all of these games. I don't see the value anymore. So I want to ask you, what value are you getting right now? Because you beat all the Xbox exclusives and all the games on Game Pass are kind of garbage if I'm really keeping it real. Nobody don't pay $500 to play indie games, baby games, cartoon games. Every month on Game Pass, there's an indie game, cartoon game. You don't need a 12 teraflop machine to play these baby games and indie games and cartoon games. So I want to ask you, what value are you getting? Because you keep saying, oh, I got value. I got value. So you kind of tripping me out with that. I don't see what you're seeing. So explain to me, what value are you getting? Because I think as an Xbox fanboy, I'm gonna call Microsoft out. I'm gonna call Phil Spencer out. I think they could do better. They could do better because the stuff we get, I feel like it's not that good. I feel like Xbox should have a dual sense. I feel like Xbox should, you know what I mean, should have better performing games. We getting games at 30 FPS, and PlayStation is getting games at 60 FPS. It don't make no damn sense how the PlayStation 5 is outperforming the Xbox Series X. But that's what I want to ask you. I just wanted to ask you the value because I be watching your videos. You keep saying value, and I don't see the value. I just don't see it, bro. There's levels to this. Now I'm fucking with you. Let's get it.
That's dope. That's dope, man. That's dope.
Okay. So hopefully that transition was smooth enough, and you guys got to hear his question. So his question is, how do I still see the value of Game Pass? Before I answer his question, I want to talk about a few points that he made that I actually agree with him on. Okay. First things first, I have played through most of, if not all, of the Xbox exclusives. I have. Okay. And I played them all on Game Pass. So when I was running through those games, he could understand why I could see the value. So yes, he's asking, how do I see the value now? So yes, I've beaten all the Gears, I've beaten all the Halos. I don't really beat the Forza games like that, right? I played the Sunset Overdrive, the Rise of Rome's, the Psychonauts, the freaking Oris, whatever. Okay, so yes, I have beaten those games, and now when you're looking at it, it's like, okay, what else do you have on Game Pass? Why? Where do you see the value? He says, because I don't see the value. Okay. He also mentioned how we paid $500 for these consoles, and we didn't pay $500 to play little BS indie games. I agree with him on the console part, but those are two different arguments. Okay, you can argue the value of the Series X, and then you can argue the value of Game Pass. Okay, and I've been on camera plenty of times saying that the Series X right now seems like the console that really bamboozled people. It's almost as if it's almost as if Microsoft should have just produced the Series S at this point, because the X right now is looking like a joke in terms of power wise and all that other stuff. I know they just patched up a Plexel Requiem, and I know Plexel Requiem is running great. It's running better than it does on the PS5. That's cool. It's this one game is just not enough. It's not enough. Okay. Redfall running at 30 frames is a problem on the $500 console. Okay, but I digress. So I agree with him on that when it comes to the $500 console. If we stick to the basic of How am I seeing value in Game Pass? This is what I'm going to tell you. $15 a month is what I pay for Game Pass Ultimate. And even though, let's say I don't use xCloud, which I really don't, I'm not a fan of xCloud. I've tried xCloud. I'm telling you, I want xCloud to work. It just doesn't work for me. It's too much lag. It just doesn't work. Okay. So I don't use the xCloud aspect of it. Okay. I do have a gaming PC, but it has a 1660 Ti in it, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I have no reason to lie. I'm not really downloading games on that PC like that to play these games. I downloaded Redfall just for the simple fact that I could, and I didn't want to play Redfall at 30 frames. So I downloaded Redfall on my 1660 Ti, and I was able to play it on low to medium settings at above 60 frames. But again, I don't really use it for that either, so I'm not even gonna throw that in as a value. Even though I used it, I'm not gonna throw in xCloud as a value, and I'm not gonna throw being able to download games on PC as a value. So now, if you're a console gamer like me, where do I see the value in Game Pass? Again, $15 a month, $180 a year, if my math is correct. Well, here's the thing, though. So I don't look at gaming only based on first party AAA titles. I don't. When I play a video game, I don't know what the budget of the video game was. I don't know the history of the publisher that produced the video games. I don't know whether it's exclusive to my platform. Like, I have never looked at a game and been like, can this game play on PlayStation or Nintendo? And that's going to determine whether or not I like this game. I've never done that. So when I look at a game, I just play it. With that being said, when I look at something like Atomic Heart, which is a first person shooter and it's the type of games that I like, I'm going to play Atomic Heart. Okay. That's $60 already, right? For me to be able to play Atomic Heart if I wanted to buy it, or $50. I don't know what price it is right now, but when it launched, $60, or was Atomic Heart just 70? Let's just say it was $60. Okay. $15 a month to be able to play that game. Yeah, that's value. And I know I'm going to play that game. Okay. Um, so another game on there, Origami 2. I want to play Origami 2. Okay? I don't know how much Origami 2 goes for. It might be less than $15 right now if I wanted to buy it, but it's probably not. Now here's another thing else as well, Lo. So you gotta understand this. I just again, this is a me thing. I don't care about owning my games. If I don't own my games, it doesn't hurt me. It doesn't bother me if I don't own them, because usually when I beat a game, I don't really go back to play it. I usually move on to the next game. Typically I would try to trade it back in if there was any value in trading it back in, but I don't it doesn't really, I don't get joy in knowing that the game is mine, owning it, if that makes sense. And again, I understand that that's not everybody, but that's just me. So I'm just looking at how much do I got to pay for access to the game? $60 versus 50 versus $15. So Atomic Heart's on there. Origami 2 is on there. Titanfall 2, which I haven't played, is on there. All the Dishonoreds are still on there, which I want to play. Um, there's some older 360 games still on there that I want to play. Okay. There's Sea of Thieves I want to play. I don't know if that might be free to play, so that might not be a good example. Um, there's a whole bunch of different other games on Game Pass that I don't even have to look at the catalog, but I know that if I go through it and if I said in this year I wanted to play these games, I know I would spend more than $180 to have access to those games. So that's where the value to me still comes from. But again, that's for me. If you're looking at game, and you got to remember it. If you look at something like Atomic Heart and you want to buy it, right? Or you want to try it and you drop $16, and you drop $60 on it. And let's say the game's only 12 hours long, right? You could have spent $15 and played that game, and the value would have been there. And another huge value of Game Pass is the fact that you can subscribe from month to month. PlayStation Premium, overall, in the grand scheme of things, if you get the year subscription, is cheaper. However, if you're not using it, right? If you're not using it and you bought the year subscription and you wanted to cancel your subscription, you can. They're still going to keep taking money out until or you've already paid that money, so you just have that subscription there. Whereas with Game Pass, you can, as of right now, you can time it when you want to go ahead and get your Game Pass subscription on, or when you don't. Maybe I could wait until I see three, five, 10 indie games. And I know you mentioned indie games, but maybe I have three, five, 10 indie games that I see in there that I want to try, that I want to play. And for the next 2 months, I try out, I go ahead and subscribe to Game Pass, and I only pay $30 for that month. The value in Game Pass is there. Don't let anybody lie to you and tell you that it's not. The value in Game Pass, again, when you look at it for dollar for what you're getting for these games, the value of Game Pass is there. The only way you see that that value doesn't count is when you start putting restrictions on the type of games that you play. Me, and that could be any restriction. If you're someone that only plays first person shooters, then everything else on Game Pass that's not a first person shooter is of no value to you. If you're a person that only plays first party games, then everything else that's not a first party game has of no value to you. And again, there's no right or wrong way to do it. So, for instance, I'm not a huge sports fan. So every single title in Game Pass that's a sports game is a wasted slot for me. It's a wasted slot. I'm not a huge fan of turn-based RPGs. I'm not. I think the only turn-based game I really play is like Pokemon. That's it. So every single slot that has games like that is a wasted slot for me. I'm not a huge fan of sword fighting games like Elden Ring or Dark Souls or stuff like that, or Mortal Shell, I think is the name of the game. So those slots again are a waste to me, right? However, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, I still gotta play those. The Dead Spaces are still in there. I still gotta play those, right? Like I mentioned, the Dishonored, I still gotta play those, right? All those Titanfall 2, I still gotta play those. All those games are still in there in Game Pass, and that's why it's still a value. And I'm just talking from the console perspective of Game Pass. So, Loso, I know this was a little bit long-winded. I hope this answered your question though, because I think it was a good question. I agree with you on the $500 console thing, but I just wanted to make it clear that as of right now, I still see value in Game Pass. Now, if you yourself have played all those games, or when you look at the catalog of Game Pass, you don't see value. And again, all I want you to do is take it on a month to month basis, because that's what Microsoft is allowing you to do. It's not like Sony. I subscribed for the year with Sony, so I have to wait for the year to end. Regardless of whether or not I think it's a value to me right now, I still gave them that money. Microsoft is allowing you to determine the value of Game Pass on a month to month basis. And honestly, I think that in itself is a better value. Because you can waste $15 this month and next month be like, I'm good. And wait until you see enough value accumulate in there, and then boom, drop $15 and strategically plan when you're going to play these games. That's a value. But again, I'm talking from the console perspective. I'm not even mentioning the PC perspective or the cloud perspective, because I don't need a cap for this video. So I hope that helps out. Let me know what you think, Loso. I expect to see your comment down here. Dog 1985, there's levels to this. We out. Peace.